The Virtuoso Pianist in 60 Exercises. You familiar with this book? When were you first introduced to these Hanon exercises? How many of you played? And have they been of help to you as you practice? I am genuinely interested in your answers to these questions, so please leave a comment below and we can start a discussion. Welcome to part 1 of the myths of Hanon. So to kick off today's roast of Hanon, let's take a look at this statement right from the first page of the book. This is the first page, above the very first exercise. Lift the fingers high and with precision, playing each note very distinctly. Wow, there might not be a worse direction you could give a pianist of any skill level. Lift the fingers high? No. The simple act of lifting the fingers is one of the most physically detrimental acts you could perform as a pianist. Doing this repeatedly and with speed and with force, that is the perfect recipe for injury. The fingers are built to partially extend, but to fully grasp. The mobility of the hand stems from acts of contraction from the point of rest, not acts of extension. By nature, our hands are designed to hold and grip things. The best and the most efficient piano playing follows nature. It doesn't fight it. Now back to Hanon's statement. Lift the fingers high and with precision. The precision of piano playing happens at the bottom of the key and close to that at the point where the hammer hits the string. So we've established that lifting is bad, but with precision, lifting with precision, that places even more emphasis on the lift of the fingers, which is exactly the opposite point of where sound is created, which is at the bottom of the key when the hammer strikes the string. Okay, once more, back to Hanon, playing each note very distinctly. Now that's finally something that I can agree with. Distinct tones and articulations are great to focus on. If it were up to me to rephrase this sentence prior to the very first exercise, I'd say this: strike the keys from rest, playing each note very distinctly and with precision. Part of the reason I'm making this video is because of the huge number of times I see Hanon recommended to pianists online. Pianists who are teaching themselves and maybe supplementing their self-study with a Zoom lesson here and there, or maybe supplementing with an app. Now give that opening statement about lifting fingers to someone without a teacher that they're seeing regularly. If they actually follow the advice, they're gonna have aches in their arm and in their wrist. They're gonna have possible tendinitis and possible even carpal tunnel syndrome. So today's myth, Hanon is good for your technique. Hanon can actually cause technical problems with playing and prevent virtuosity, not develop it. Okay, I feel a bit bad about bashing Hanon, and in full disclosure, I have played every single one of these 60 exercises, so at the end of each of these myth videos, I'm also going to shed some positive light on the topic and where specifically Hanon was coming from. Now before we get into that, if you've been enjoying this video, click that thumbs up button and consider subscribing to the channel. Charles Louis Hanon was born in 1819, and he published The Virtuoso Pianist in 1873. At the time of writing the book, there was remarkably little known about great piano technique, and for obvious reasons, nothing known about neurology and the study of how the muscles and the brain interact. What was being taught fell generally into two schools of thought. The finger school was the first, and that developed around the time of Bach and centered on the playing of the harpsichord and the organ, the pipe organ. Those are instruments with very light keys and instruments on which the tone is produced at the top of the key depression. On harpsichord, at the top of the key is where the string gets plucked. On the pipe organ, at the top of the key, this is where the pipe opens and the air comes through, as opposed to the modern piano where the sound happens at the bottom of the key. Now, the second school was the anatomical physiological school, which, unlike the finger school, focused on relaxation, playing with weight, and using the larger mechanisms found in the arm and in the shoulder. Now, this is obviously a very opposite approach to the finger school. Hanon falls firmly into this finger school method of study. And despite this book of exercises being nearly 150 years old, despite the technique stemming from playing harpsichord and pipe organ, not the modern piano, despite our current knowledge of neurology, and despite at least 50 years of widespread education of, dare I say, better technique, teachers and amateurs alike still prescribe Hanon studies for technical development at the piano. Perhaps this is because Rachmaninoff himself gave Hanon credit for enabling the highly virtuosic Russian musical movement of the late 19th and early 20th century. What do you think of Hanon, and specifically this direction to lift the fingers? Let me know in the comments below. As a teacher, there is some validity to starting an attack from above the key and with a sort of preparatory motion. But that motion needs to be highly scrutinized by a teacher, and or you need some fantastic body awareness to be able to apply it in a healthy way to your technique. Okay, this was just part one of my roast of Hanon, the virtuoso pianist. Stay tuned for more videos in this series where I'll dive into specific exercises presented in the book. Be sure to click that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, ding that notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. And remember, practice smarter, not harder. And I'll see you next time you visit Pianist Academy.